And welcome inside the Backstage Pass. We're back at it after a little few days off. And of course, this is the only show of the week this week as we take Thursday and Friday off. Enjoy the weekend because with the holidays, of course, I'm not as busy. That's a good thing about the holidays is can do it when I want to here on the Backstage Pass presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey. Check them out. The holiday drink of choice is out there at easyliquor.com. Make sure you get that bottle sent directly to your door. And of course, drink responsibly with Bangtail Whiskey out there too. We're live on the YouTube channel and at the website out there too. Pleased to welcome in a couple of guys that I love. Speaking of Texas music, I love it all the time. And it doesn't get any better out there than the Austin Band and, of course, the guys, Sal and Sean, the Ransom Brothers, joining us here on the Backstage Pass. Gentlemen, what's going on?
Man, not much. Just kind of winding down for the day, but happy to be here, man. Appreciate you having us.
Oh, man, no time. Like I said, trying to put this together for a while. And like I said, kind of putting things out there. But with the holiday season, first of all, happy holidays to you guys and Merry Christmas and all that good stuff out there, too. And all the people in podcast and radio land out there, too, listening. Tell me about this because you guys want to do this for a long time. And this latest album is causing a buzz out there, man. This album called Resurgence. And I got a chance to listen to the whole thing. And we're going to break down and talk about a lot of songs today, include some of my favorites off of there, too. But I guess whoever wants to start here, whether it be Sal or Sean, tell me how this thing kind of got started, because I know you guys wanted to pursue music for a long time, and you got your really own unique sound out there.
Yeah, I'll get it going, man. We met probably, I guess, at this point about 3 years back from an old mutual roommate that used to live here at this house. Sean's living now in place of him. And basically, that roommate knew that I played guitar, and Sean started working with him. And he came home one day and he's like, hey, there's a new guy we just hired, man, says he plays guitar. Maybe I'll jam sometime. So we ended up going out. I think it was during South by. And we ended up at the Blind Pig on 36th. And we were jamming to some bands. And we started talking music and shop. And immediately could tell he knew way more than me at the time because I had kind of taken a break from music. He's up there talking about the different guitars and amps. And I'm like, dude, I have no idea what this guy's talking about. But he came over to jam. He brings his full, professional board and a couple guitars to jam. And at that time, I had like one guitar and an amp, and absolutely no pedal board, none of that stuff. And we just got to jamming that day and quickly kind of hit it off. And so after we kind of wrapped that up, he mentioned he had a couple shows in College Station that he had lined up. And I was like, damn, man, I hadn't honestly played a live show in probably a decade, but I was like, let's rock and roll, man. Let's do it. And after that, he started showing me some of the stuff he was writing on his own, and I really gravitated towards it. And then we kind of just found a way of, how we worked together, how we wrote together. Sean definitely comes up with a lot of the lyrics for all our songs. I helped come up with a lot of the music, and we kind of just married that and kind of took it from there.
Yeah, I think this is kind of cool because I got a chance to listen to the album Resurgence, and I pulled something from you guys' website, so I'm going to use it too because I totally agreed with it because I thought about it before I read it. Everybody's done that before when you get a chance to think about something or project something or make a projection, what have you, and then kind of go do some research and homework and then kind of put two and two together. You guys have kind of like your own unique sound, and what I thought about it was nobody's telling anybody else what to do. It's like I love I guess is the right term for it, Chinese food. You throw a bunch of shit in a wok and mix it up, and that's what you guys. And it's a good sound. I'm saying it's a damn good. Talk about that, Sean. And I think that's a cool thing because I don't care if it comes out the way it's good music is what I'm trying to say. Like just mix it up and throw it out there, right?
You're speaking sales language, saying throw a bunch of shit in the wok and see what comes out crispy. I've heard him say that so many times. I think that was actually really how a lot of this sort of manifested from the very beginning. It was Sal is very good at coming up with kind of like a hook lick that gets you excited about just kind of where the melody of the song is going. And I'm good about kind of capturing whatever the kind of vibe is emotionally with what he's playing. I can kind of put words to that. So that kind of was a partnership that we realized very early on was effective. And that's how a lot of our writing goes. Sometimes we won't even touch lyrics. until we've got exactly what we want to do with the guitars, with the rhythm section, until the song feels like it's kind of got a very groovy, like harmonized guitars, fiddle. Until we've got all that in place, then we'll start to figure out, okay, what are we trying to say here? And then I'll kind of go off in my corner of the room. And there's definitely been times. There's songs on the album that were completely finished guitar wise and melody wise. The bass lines were written, the drums were written, and everybody was looking at me like, all right, Sean, go write some stuff down. And then I was like, all right, cool. So I would come back and be like, all right, here's the lyrics. And they'd be like, great, cool.
I like to say we got to shake the golden goose sometimes, man. Just kind of
that being me.
Pump us out some lyrics, brother. If we need something here. But as far as you're saying, with everything else, kind of throwing everything into the mix, it started off with Sean and I kind of as an acoustic duo, and as we started kind of getting some more stuff booked and put together, we were like, we'd much rather have a big band and a big Southern rock sound. And when it came to getting into the studio to lay down all these tracks for the album, I mean, we really just let the other guys kind of have free reign, leading up to that, going, hey, man, here's the song, our fiddle player, JT, what do you want to throw on this, man? And he would just start throwing licks on it. And I was like, hell, man, that's great. Run with that. And same with the key player and our bass player, and just kind of let everybody do their own thing. No one really was telling each other like, hey, what we really need to happen is here. It was just, man, hear the music, put what you want to it. And most of the time, like we say, it came out crispy.
Did come out crispy, no doubt, too. So speaking of talking to food, we'll get to more of that in the rapid fire coming up a little bit later, too. I want to know the guy's favorite out there when they're on the road. Resurgence is out there across all the digital platforms. Let's talk a little bit about this and break it down. How excited were you guys to get this flavor of music, this walk, this crispiness out to the fans out there, too, when it came down to it? Because I was talking to Sal before the show started today and talking about Jesus Dancing and Guillotine back to today, some of my favorite tracks off there. And you're right. Everything kind of comes out. You hear the different sounds, the different things musically you guys can do with all the different instruments and the band. Talk about this, and this album's already creating a buzz, Sal.
I'll let you.
I mean, as far as the creative aspect of it.
Yeah, the creative aspect of it, the songwriting. Like I said, you guys, the choices of the songs on there too, because sometimes, talk to musicians here on the program, they say, well, we wrote songs or co-wrote songs that almost made the album and didn't really fit in, I guess, with the creative process. But yeah, the creative process of it.
There was a point where we had a lot of stuff written. And this was before we'd even picked a producer. We were just like, okay, what do we want to do? And we had so much stuff written that the first thing we knew we had to do was go find a producer. So we talked to Corby Schaub, who he's got an impressive resume if you dig into him. He was Ryan Bingham's guitar player when it was still the Dead Horses. He produced Limestone Kid for Parker McCollum. He's done a lot of work with Keller Cox. He's just an all-around really impressive musician, and he's a great guy. He's been one of our really favorite friends, and he's been a really great mentor for us as kind of musicians coming up in the Austin scene and in the Texas scene in general. But we pitched I think 21 or 22 songs to him, and he was like, guys, it's usually I get excited about a project when I've got 3 or 4 songs that are going to be on a record that I think are really good. He's like, I'm having a hard time picking 10 or 11 songs to put on an album, and you guys just sent me 22. He's like, all this material is really good. And so we were like, okay, well, it's good when the producer says that, and not like this is all trash. I don't know how I'm going to work with you guys. And he was like, let's narrow it down to about 14. Let's go through pre-pro. And we sat in our jam room that's right over there and just thrashed out the basics of 14 songs that we were going to put in the studio. And then we got in. Sometimes when you get in, if you're like a signed act where you're a band that Columbia Records or Universal or Warner Brothers is like, okay, go in the studio for 2 months, do whatever you want, and come up with something good. You have as much time, you have as much money as you want. Then you can sit and, drink as much whiskey and do as many drugs as you think you need to come up with a good record. We didn't have that kind of time. We had 4 days to go in and track 14 songs, and we only kept 12. So we had to fly. And we got all of our – I mean, every arrangement was down exactly the way we wanted it to. We had everything lyrically, melodically kind of charted the way we needed it to be. And all 7 guys that were tracking – actually, it was 9 guys. We had our producer, Corby, played drums on some of the record. We had John Chipman from the Resentments. John Chipman came in and played drums. We had Pat Mansky. He was our engineer. He played drums. So there was really about 9 guys that were recording in those 4 days. And it was just insane to see how much we could turn and burn on those songs. But that was, from a recording standpoint, it was very much just know what you have to get done and do it quickly. And a lot of times, sometimes you'll be like, I don't really know if I like that take. I don't really know if I feel very good about it. And Pat Mansky was just, we had kind of good cop, bad cop. We had, Corby was very kind of patient with us and is very like, if you want to kind of do that over again, we got time, we'll do that. And Pat was just like, nope, shit can't. Let's go. Keep moving. From a creative standpoint, and this is kind of more just us sitting around writing, not so much getting into the studio and kind of starting to really get into the woodshed on things. Like Sal and I are really good about kind of communicating ideas from a, what do you think of this? What do you think of that kind of standpoint? When Sal and I will sit down and go over lyrics or go over guitar riffs or go over the shell of things, he and I sort of balance each other out. I tend to like things to be in a very structured kind of foundation. And Sal will bring anything and everything he's got at a project, and it's like, I've got this riff, I've got this lyrical idea, I wrote down this whole page of notes, I've got these chords, and then it changes to these chords. And I tend to be a little bit more kind of in the box, where he tends to be more out of the box. And so when you've got 2 creative thinkers that kind of come at things that way, you have to sort of bottle everything together. And it's why our sound kind of sounds a little bit more out there. It's why it doesn't really have kind of like an easy to label category to it, just because I think I can try to sort of bottle a song down into exactly what I think it is. And Sal will challenge to be like, okay, well, it doesn't have to have this. It doesn't need to exactly be this style. We can kind of go a little bit further with it. But it's interesting to kind of see. You got 7 guys that recorded on an album, and our live show at its simplest is 5 guys, and at its most complicated is like 7 dudes. You got 3 guitar players, keys, fiddle, drums, bass. We started working with pedal steel. Like it's kind of this big hairy mess that we keep working with.
We're going to come back and talk a lot about a couple of songs off there, the ones I mentioned, Jesus Dancing, which is a crowd favorite out there too. We'll take a quick time out, Bangtail Whiskey, and of course no shows tomorrow, none Friday. We're going to be out of town doing some holiday stuff for Christmas out there, and we're just a week away from Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Everybody's having a good vacation out there too and drinking your glass of Bangtail Whiskey. A word from them. Coming back more with the Ransom Brothers. It is the Backstage Pass live on the YouTube channel, and of course out there at the sportsguys podcast.com. More with the guys coming up here just a sec. Hang tight.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here with the guys again. It is the Ransom Brothers, Sal and Sean here on the program here on the Backstage Pass. Again, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. Of course, coming up next week, we'll do a betting show with my good buddy Heath out there. We'll actually throw some wagers out there, get you into some sports betting, and pick some games of the week in the NFL and also the UFC fights. It's a new segment we're called Bet It, Bank It, coming up on Monday at 4 o'clock next week. Be sure and tune in for that coming up across all the social platforms we have. Back here with the guys talking about Resurgence a lot out there. And if you want to follow them on social media, please go do that and hit like out there because everybody loves to be liked. Sal, I tell you, I love this song that leads it off, Jesus Dancing. And I want to get kind of the backstory of where this came from because this really sets the tone for the album.
Yeah, that's a really good example of Sean and my different creative styles coming together. So I had that riff and kind of the main riff of the verse. And, you know, a lot of times I'll come up with something like that and I have no idea lyrically where it should go. And it's just, I toss it to him and, you know, I showed him and immediately he was like, hold on, keep playing that. And Son of a Gun had recently just written lyrics to a song that, I mean, that's what it was. It literally laid over on top of that damn near perfectly. We really didn't have to change up too much. He added in the chords to the chorus. And I mean, probably 15, 20 minutes later, we kind of had the basis of this idea like, okay, let's run this through a couple times. You and I get it together. And then let's toss this to the rest of the guys and get them hopping in it. As far as the lyrics go, I'll let him talk about that a little bit.
That was Jesus Dancing is like sometimes songs happen on accident. Like you're not sitting down trying to write anything. And it was sometimes people will ask me this like kind of question of just like what led you to want to write a song about that? Like it's very weird. Some people find it a little bit kind of blasphemous or sacrilegious. And I have to kind of challenge it because it's like I wrote that song very much from a very simple standpoint. I didn't want to say anything too flowery or kind of overstate anything. I just wanted it to be very simple and say, a lot of guys in the band grew up in the church. We grew up with moms and dads that, want us to have good, nice Christian habits and behaviors. And we play in bars at night. We hang out with girls that hang out in bars at night. We have buddies that get in and out of trouble. And, it's a lot of that lifestyle is not exactly the most Bible study, Sunday school type of environment. Mm-hmm. And it's about kind of how you manage sort of both of those sides of your life. How do you look at like, okay, I'm going to go play guitar and smoke cigarettes and drink whiskey at a dive bar in Austin, Texas. And then the next day I'm going to go hang out with my friends that are very involved in their church. And that's a classic theme in country music. You got tons of songs about, there's tons of songs about just, Saturday night, Sunday morning, kind of that juxtaposition. There's, you got massive hits like Jesus Take the Wheel. That's a very religious kind of theme in country music that you see. I think is it Harper County PTA. Mm-hmm. You got the songs like that are very kind of sort of fly in the face of a lot of traditional Christian values in small towns, and it's very hypocritical kind of rhetoric there. But I wrote that song thinking it was going to go one direction, and I wanted it to be very kind of like thought-provoking and be very sort of like, this needs to be a very heavy song that really hits home because what country songs do. And then Sal shows me that riff, and then we harmonize those guitar parts. And I was like, this needs to go complete 180, ZZ Top, Molly Hatchet, like
full on rocker, man.
Who sings Jesus Is Just All Right With Me? Doobie Brothers. Yeah. I heard that and I was like, man, this is a Southern rock song. It's got to go completely that direction. It's got this Ted Nugent kind of bite to it. And I was like, let's just take it and roll with it.
I liked it. Actually, it really set the tone for the album too. Let's break down Guillotine as well, because that was the fourth song, I believe, on that record. Again, Resurgence out there, and you can visit the guys at theransombrothers.com out there. What was kind of the backstory of Guillotine?
Oh, man. I almost forgot you asking that right now. That song used to be completely different.
Mm-hmm. Totally different.
Another riff I had, and I think I had the idea of this drop the guillotine line, and I was like, I have no idea what any of that means in any sense and what we possibly write for that. And so Sean sits down and kind of came up with the basis of that, and then we kind of did all the fine points on it. And we had it in a very different structure for a while, and it was kind of more of a heavy guitar riff and a little faster paced, a little heavier. And then one day he came over and he's like, "Hey, I want to show you something. I got an idea on how we change up guillotine," and ended up going in that direction. And we ended up adding a mandolin to it, and then.
No, we were rehearsing in a rehearsal space. It was like a storage shed, and we were practicing some songs. And I remember we had gotten done, and our bass player Phil was like, "Okay, so do we have any covers? Are we gonna do anything else?" And then Sal had just bought a mandolin, and he was just playing kind of like an A chord and then a D chord on the mandolin. And I kept hearing him do that over and over again. He was just jamming. He was just hanging out. And I heard him kept playing A and D, and I was like, "Oh my God, hold on a second." And then I put the capo on the certain fret of my guitar, and as I started jamming it, and I was like, "That's guillotine." And he was like, "Oh." And then I was like, "Let's just run it like that." And so we rehearsed it probably 3 or 4 times that night, and then we had realized like that song just needed to be kind of presented in a different way. The way we had it before wasn't really kind of capturing the vibe of the song. And it just completely changed it and took it in a different direction.
And I think, lyrically, that song shows this guy's ability to just come up with a random story, just put it together in a way that's like, well, that's a cool, unique little story we didn't expect to hear. And I mean, yeah.
Obviously, neither of us have gotten into drug deals and crashed our trucks into trees and been chased by the police into Mexico.
Definitely. Again, like I said, mix it up, throw it out there, and see if people I talked to Cody Jenks one time here on the show, and he says, "Hey, if you don't like my brand of music, hey man, there's something else out there for you too at the time." Yeah. So you just you get what you like, and like I said, if you don't like it, there's something else out there for you. But this stuff is good. Like I said, take it from somebody who listens to music and does this show too as well. That I've interviewed a ton of artists out there, listen to a lot of music, but this is an album that is well worth getting for a Christmas stocking stuffer or just an iTunes gift card. Go get it out there, go stream it. Resurgence across all the digital platforms too as well. Make sure you guys go check that out. Time to get into a little rapid fire. And I tell you guys, I love doing this. So on the road, what's kind of, I guess, Sal, we can start here. What's your favorite food to kind of go after when you guys are on the road?
Oh man, it always ends up being Whataburger.
Yep. we get Whataburger, or if we find a donut shop, we like to go to donut shops.
Kolaches, man. Big on kolaches, especially when I'm hungover. I just need bread with food stuff.
We have a weird request for green rooms, and anytime we go to gas stations, we always get this. But sometimes people on our tech rider, they'll be like, "What do you guys want for your green room?" We'll always say we want Crown Royal, Lone Star, Topo Chico, and dill pickle flavored sunflower seeds. So
newer addition, also sour gummy worms.
Yes,
for our boy Wade.
Correct. Sour gummy worms.
Now, when it comes to, I guess, beer, whiskey, wine, what do you guys get into?
I'm definitely a whiskey guy.
Whiskey.
I honestly really don't care what it is. I'm just not a big Jack fan. But just about anything else, put it in the cup, it'll go down the hatch.
We've had a good relationship with Ransom Brothers for a while. We've done a lot of philanthropy events for them. We've played for them out in Marathon at the Gage Hotel a few times. And we played at their distillery too. Sometimes there's some guys in the band that they think it's a little bit too sweet. I love Ransom Brothers. I can't get enough of it. I think it's awesome.
It's good stuff out there, no doubt. Well, I tell you, I love the album. Again, I'm going to put it out there again. Resurgence across all the digital platforms. Make sure you guys go check it out. And visit the guys at the RansomBrothers.com. Make sure you guys go check out the website, the live shows, of course, coming back. And you guys, I'm sure, had a busy 2022 and looking forward to a 2023 version of that coming up with those live shows coming back. And I'll tell you what, if I ever get a chance to get to Austin or surrounding areas, or you guys coming down to Houston, I'm in Beaumont down here, so Texas knows Texas very well. And like I said, the drive is always easy to get over there to see you guys. I would love to catch a live show, and appreciate you guys making time for us today here on the podcast. And hey, best of luck the rest of this year, and of course, a great 2023 to the band, no doubt.
Hey, right back at you, man. And this next year, we're definitely going to be trying to travel a lot more, especially towards Houston and getting towards East Texas a little more.
Are we allowed to announce what we're doing in March?
Yeah, let's see why not.
We're playing at the Houston Rodeo Wine Garden on March 11th. So if you're going to be around for the Houston Rodeo, March 11th, we'll be there.
I'm going to try to get out there too, because that is actually falls on a vacation I have, and I've actually done some work with them over the past couple of years out there supporting artists and doing some live footage out there, video, what have you. So definitely, I'd love to get out there March 11th and may put that on the calendar and holler at you guys and get set up for all that good stuff out there, no doubt. Again, guys, check it out, Resurgence across all the digital platforms, and check the guys out at theransomBrothers.com for all the good stuff out there. Also, congratulations to the winner last night of The Voice, Bryce Leatherwood. He's got a great country sound out there, so check him out as we try to watch that show. My good friend Morgan Miles almost made it out there too. I know she finished there in the top 3, so I wanted to throw that out there too. Congratulations to Bryce Leatherwood for winning this edition of The Voice. We'll try to get him on here in 2023 here on the show to talk about that ride too as well. Appreciate you guys soon. We'll talk to you guys coming up here in 2023. We're going to try to get to that show March 11th at the Houston Wine Garden out there coming up too as well. And of course, all the shows you can check out, the sportsguyspodcast.com and the YouTube channel. Go subscribe out there and see all the work we've put together. Got some good plans in store, including Dylan Carmichael coming on the show in February and a whole lot more coming up here over the next few weeks as we take a little vacation. Again, happy holidays to everybody out there. We'll see you soon from all of us here at the Backstage Pass. Have a great night.